private equity giant Apollo is part of a bid to buy bankrupt crypto firm Celsius. Apollo is a huge buyer of a lot of companies that go into Chapter 11 with about $500 billion under management. Why does this matter for them to be involved? Well, Celsius is actually sort of operating in the background with its Chapter 11 ongoing. So they're still mining Bitcoin. They're still staking Ether. People are sort of like working through the Chapter 11 filings, of course, in order to get like their money back, which they put on top of Celsius. That is ongoing. But in the background, we have a bunch of firms that are trying to buy the assets of Celsius, the operating assets such as mining and staking, as well with the information about these customers. This sort of mirrors the conversation that we're seeing with Voyager and Binance US and FTX. But Celsius seems to have maybe some larger players in the traditional scene that are actually interested in purchasing them up. I will throw this one to Zach because also slightly more boring story that I think
Zach
you can bring home for
Zach,
us.
you got your
It's a
beat
Zach
now.
story.
It's such a Zach story. It is such a Zach story. Yeah, I mean, I think I know who the source is on this one. I don't know, but I think I know. I think I know. So that part to me, the intrigue, the reporting process intrigue is entertaining. But yeah, the fact that Apollo here is stepping in and taking over Celsius, which certainly has a ton of baggage, right? You had Celsius, which was led by Alex Mashinsky, into the ground with some bombast and some hubris. And now they're trying to restructure it into something that is different, right? We're talking about Bitcoin mining, we're talking about ETH staking, we're talking about a variety of services that are going to look very different from the Celsius that we knew and that some fans came to love. So the fact that there are operational units that make sense for a big old giant private equity fund to step in and buy, certainly interesting. Apollo is not necessarily a stranger to the crypto space, right? They brought over Christine Moy. I think she was at JP Morgan before, sort of shepherding a lot of that bank's crypto involvement. She's part of the team now, so there's certainly a bit of crypto savvy on the squad. So if they see some stuff that makes sense for, you know, Celsius 2.0 and they want to get involved in that in this consortium that's bidding on this these assets, I think that certainly makes sense. And it's kind of par for the course given what Apollo has done, I guess, in recent months, maybe a year, to further ingratiate and, deepen their ties to the crypto sector. So, it is funny just given the baggage that Celsius has. But I think based on this story, the new Celsius is going to be significantly different from the crypto lender that gave out ridiculous yields and had a really rabid fan base. So I'm curious to see what Celsius looks like should this come to pass. But those are my thoughts. I don't know if that spiced up the boring take, but I give it to Jen.
I liked it, Zach. I liked it.
Thank you.
A lot of Celsius news in the last week, right? So Mashinsky filed a motion to dismiss the NYAG's case against him, saying that it's like parroting misinformation. Celsius users are being told now that they can withdraw that last 6% of funds. So you'll remember that some users were told they can go ahead and withdraw 94%. And now I think in the past week, they were said, that 6% is available to you. Now this massive private equity firm is said to be a part of the auction. And so, what was interesting to me is we're seeing this space go from degens and crazy people with a lot of money and early stage investors to something that later stage growth funds want to invest in, want to be involved in, want to take companies like Celsius and restructure them and figure out how they can work within them. And I think that that's really interesting given the fact that the industry has only been around for about 10 years. I think that is absolute maturity in a very short amount of time. And so that's what I took away from the story, Will.
Yeah, speaking of maturity, let's talk about immaturity. Today is actually the 1-year anniversary of that famous tweet from Do Kwon, Steady Lads deploying more capital. And that ties into this whole story, right? 1 year ago today, all of these things were exploding. Terra Luna is exploding. Celsius had some Terra Luna bets. I believe they were able to close all their obligations on that fairly quickly. But by that time, a lot of their other obligations were coming apart. Their whole lending scheme was collapsing after 3 years capital, right? So just 1 year ago, we were talking about all the exciting things happening in crypto. And now a year later, we get to talk about all the boring things that are happening. All these companies coming in, buying up all these assets, restructuring things, sending money back to customers, making them partially whole. And to be fair, it's actually the most important stuff at this point, right? To make sure that customers are whole and to understand where all that is going. So for that, Zach, we do applaud you because you have it on lockdown.
Wow, that was a year ago. Oh my goodness! I just looked it up, and the Do Kwon as Basis Cash co-founder, May 11th, almost a year ago. So there was some late night sourcing going on this time last year. We were in the thick of it. That was insanity. Oh my god! Wow. Anyway, let's leave it there. Thank you for the history corner, Will. That was an unexpected turn into the historical factoid. Appreciate that.